Hello, everybody. This is Jackson Gregory from The Gregory Talk Show. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the top 8 arguments for the existence of the Christian God. Alright, let's, some of them just prove God as a general term, but there is evidence that the Christian God specifically exists, and that's going to be one of our arguments. Excuse me for my hiccups. Alright, let's go on to number 1. The Kalam cosmological argument. Basically, the argument goes as so. Every being which begins has a cause for its beginning. The universe is a being which began, therefore the universe possesses a cause for its beginning. And number 2 is going to be, did Jesus rise from the dead? Well, there are 3 facts. Well, actually, I'm going to add in another one. He died. We know that. His tomb was found empty. We know that there are appearances of Jesus alive after his death, and his disciples believed so strongly that he had risen from the dead that they were willing to die for their beliefs. Alright, Leibniz's contingency argument. Let's get on to that. So basically it goes like this. Premise 1. Everything that exists has a sufficient reason for its existence. Premise 2. If the universe has a sufficient reason for its existence, that sufficient reason is God. Premise 3. The universe exists. Premise 4. From these it follows logically that God exists. Let's take a look at the most controversial part of the argument, which is the second premise. If the universe has an explanation of its existence as God, the universe is all space-time reality. The universe cause cannot be a part of the universe. This means its cause must be spaceless, timeless, immaterial, and awesomely powerful. God. So God is the only explanation of the universe. The explanation of the universe can't be an abstract object like numbers or sets, because they can't cause anything. So that's a brief kind of summary of the Leibniz contingency argument. Alright, now we're going to be taking a look at the moral argument. Basically, every law needs a lawgiver. That's premise 1. Premise 2, moral law exists. Premise 3, therefore moral law needs a lawgiver. The most controversial premise that we're gonna go into is moral law exists. So basically, we know it's wrong, right? And you can't know it's wrong unless you know it's right. Like, you can't know 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 3 unless you know it equals, or doesn't equal 5 unless you know it equals 4. So basically, because we know it's wrong, like raping little children, killing, murder, theft, hatred, we know these things are all wrong. And so we have to compare it to a standard of righteousness, and that is moral law. Therefore, moral law has a lawgiver, and I believe that the lawgiver of moral law has to be morally perfect. So I'd say that's God, because we are clearly not morally perfect. The fine-tuning argument. The universe has been fine-tuned for the existence of life. That is, it has been set to an infinitesimal range of numbers. Basically, there are 3 ways to explain away fine-tuning. Physical necessity, chance, or design. It can't be due to physical necessity because the constants and quantities are independent of the laws of nature, and are independent of the laws of nature. chance. The problem with chance is that it's so infinitesimal that it's not a rational opinion to hold. So basically, and then the multiverse is brought up with an infinite number of universes. An actual infinite is impossible, and the most simple universe you get, the most popular universe that would exist inside of a multiverse, would be one in which a single brain fluctuates into existence out of the vacuum and observes its empty world. So basically, in order to believe that you're the multiverse, you have to believe that it is probable that we are some thoughts of a giant brain and a giant cosmic brain. Isn't that silly? So we're left with design, which is by far the best answer. The absurdity of life without God. We're gonna briefly go over the premises. Alright. Alright. The alternative. Every being has a beginning unless it is necessary. So everything contingent had to come from nothing or God. God is the only explanation for creation from nothing. Everything. So basically, those are the premises, and I don't want to go too far into it, but let's move on to the next one. Personal experience. Number 7, personal experience. There are millions of Christians that say that they have felt God, and God has made himself evident to them. So everybody who sincerely seeks God, God will make himself evident to them. So if you're an atheist and you're watching this right now, why don't you try it? If you're wrong, you're going to hell. You have to realize the alternative here. If you are wrong, you are going to go to hell. So you might as well try it. What does it matter? If God doesn't exist, then you're just going to experience nothing for the rest of eternity. But if he does, you're going to go to hell. It's not worth it. And last but not least, well, it might be least, but it's the Drake cosmological argument. It goes like this. Everything that exists in something. That cycle can't go on for infinity, therefore there must exist an infinite being which everything exists in. And I believe that to be God. Thank you guys for watching. This has been your top 8 arguments for the existence of God. I love you. God loves you. See you later.